Lesson today, you are going to be doing some research on how a bill becomes a law in Georgia. Um, you're going to start at Google Classroom and find the assignment. There are 2 documents that are attached to it, and this video will be attached to it as well. So we're going to start with our note-taking document called How a Bill Becomes a Law in Georgia. And when you open it up, it looks like this, and each of you will have your own so you can type on it. If you want a copy to write on yourself, or if you want just to use a regular piece of paper, just fold it in half to do the Cornell Notes, and you'll be fine with that. The way that Cornell Notes are set up is you have your topic and our essential question: what are the roles and functions of the branches and levels of government in Georgia? And this ties into that. The way you set this up is on the left-hand side. This is where, as you read and do your research, if there are any terms that you don't understand or any questions that you have that you would normally ask in class, just write them down on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is where you'll actually take your notes and record, as it says, your important information. I've put some notes down here as you read through the process of how a bill becomes a law, just some things to take into consideration as you write or type your information. When you're done, at the bottom, there's a section that says to record a summary of what you read, and that's always good. Think about what it is that you have just taken notes on, and this helps you to determine whether you have a good understanding. And this is also a great place to write any other last-minute questions that you have after you write your summary. So we'll come back up to the top, and to track or to find your article in this, there are 2 links that we're going to visit. The first one is tracking a bill through the General Assembly, and when you click on it, there's the link. And this is going to take you to the Georgia General Assembly webpage. And as you can see, it says tracking a bill through the General Assembly. So what you're going to do is you'll read this information, and in bold, these are the actual steps. And underneath that are the description, and it's a very thorough description of exactly what happens from the time a bill is introduced all the way to the final steps of it possibly becoming a law. Take your time and relax as you read this. Make sure that you understand everything, and if you don't, you'll go back to your left side column and write down your questions. To confirm that you understand everything, or actually to see another view of this, there's another link here on how a bill becomes a law. So we'll go to that. In class, I mentioned about the 4th grade class in Rome, Georgia, that wrote their bill to have the green tree frog as the state amphibian, and this is from Georgia Public Broadcasting, and it's a resource guide on how a bill becomes a law in Georgia, and this is that story. As we scroll down, there are 2 images that I think are really good for you to use if the legislature website is a little bit too heavy reading for you right now. This is a great breakdown of those 16 steps that you can read and take your notes on the Cornell Notes as well. This is the full image of that. And then the last one is just underneath this, and it is a wonderful flow chart that really summarizes each step of the process. Now, while it doesn't give a detailed description, it does give you the highlights of exactly what happens as you go through the steps from a bill to become a law. So that's part 1 of this task. You're going to read, analyze, and take notes on how a bill becomes a law. The next part of this is going back to Google Classroom, and you'll see that there's the part 2, which are recent bills in Georgia. So now that you know the steps of how a bill becomes a law, you're going to analyze 3 current bills that have been introduced into legislation. And for this task, all of the instructions are up here at the top of your document. You are going to research 3 bills. 2 of them you have free choice. One needs to be from the House and one from the Senate. The third one is one that I have chosen for you to analyze and do a little bit of different writing for that. So you'll start by going back to the legislature the General Assembly web page and then follow each of these steps. When you go to that web page, your document tells you to go to start with the House calendars. All of those links are on this side, and then the next step is to click the general calendar, and this is just where that is. This is what the document looks like that will come up, and on the instructions it will tell you to select one of the House bills to analyze. This is the House bill, the number, and this is a brief description. This is not where you stop. You'll pick one and click the link, and then it takes you to the page where you'll actually conduct your research, and this is the bill itself that you'll scroll through and read. As you go through, you'll just answer the questions for the House bill, and then you'll repeat the process for a Senate bill, following the same links. And finally, for the last part, you will visit this link, which will take you directly to House Bill 131, where you will read and analyze and respond to these questions. The overall project for this is to think about how would you display this information to explain how a bill becomes a law to someone, and this will be a portion of your website that you will be creating for your final project for this unit. If you have any questions, put them in your Cornell Notes, or if you are in class watching this, you can raise your hand and ask me.